Are live. Hello, Tim.
Hi, Mike.
We've had a busy week.
Yeah,
Okay.
we have had a very busy week.
And I apologize for the people watching. You're going to see a bit of profile here because my main camera died. So Amazon in Canada is not shipping next day. I'll see a new one next week. So I bought the new Amazon C922X, which is a nice camera, and which is good because I think the Logitech one here probably worked last on XP. It's one of the big round ball ones. So
Got it.
we thought we're going to bring you guys up to speed on SmartLink and the steps moving forward. There are significant changes in SmartSDR under the covers, not in operational, but they do have to do with the operating system, the things we run on, and more specifically .NET. So I'll turn it over to Tim, and then we'll hit some high points on the release notes, and we'll tell you the good news and the not so good news, I guess. I hate to say it that way, but there's a little of each.
Yeah,
Tim?
there's a little each.
Where do you want to start?
Well, I was going to say, probably let's start with a little history, kind of the timeline. Late last week, we started getting reports that people were having problems logging into SmartLink, and the effect was essentially they get a white screen with an OK on it. So we now affectionately have a white screen of death error. But once we started getting these, our engineering team jumped into it, took a look at it, and was able to figure out that what was happening was actually a security failure. And it happens when you're logging on to SmartLink, and we use a third-party security provider called Auth0 that manages all of the user accounts and helps to establish the secure connections that you make between your client and your radio. And so Auth0 is upgrading to TLS, which stands for Transport Layer Security. Version 1.3, which is the latest version of it, and so they notified us that they were going to be doing this upgrade, and we took a look at our radio software, the firmware, and everything, and it looked like we had all our bases covered. And unfortunately, there was one base that we didn't have covered, and we missed it. And that was the version of .NET that we use with SmartSDR for Windows was too old and did not support the updated version of TLS.
Real quick, Tim, for those that don't understand, why is .NET so critical to us?
So .NET is a program. It's an application layer that lives in between the operating system and programs, and it provides classes and functions and calls and stuff that the application can make to the operating system, and so .NET's been around for a long time, and it's used with just about every Windows program that's out there, and so this is a foundational component, comes with Windows. It's not something you can remove from your PC. And the version that we were using was an older version that just did not support the new TLS 1.3 libraries properly. So our engineering team jumped into action and started working on this last Friday night, and early Saturday morning, and was able to.
Actually, it was almost Wednesday, wasn't it? Wednesday night. It's sort of a blur.
Yeah, I was going to say, a lot of it started over at the end of the week toward the weekend. But
yeah.
like I said,
it was immediately though.
Yeah, it was pretty quick, yeah. And so we were able to get to verify that .NET was the problem, and what we needed to do was update .NET and SmartSDR. Unfortunately, that's a two-step process. One, you have to actually install the correct version of .NET on Windows. And then the second thing you have to do is you have to recompile your program to use the new .NET. And it's that second part that is that gets a little sticky, because .NET is something that controls everything in the software. And so when you make .NET changes in applications, you have to be very concerned about the changes in .NET and how they're going to affect your program. And so that requires a lot of regression testing. And so what we have been doing for the last several days is doing a lot of regression testing. Once we've recompiled SmartSDR for the new version of .NET, which is 4.6.3. And so, those programs came out. We started testing. We turned a version over to our alpha team. Our alpha team tested it, and we promptly broke it, which is exactly what the alpha team is supposed to do. And so we found one thing that we missed, and we fixed it, and that was sent to the alpha team yesterday. The final version.
Today's Thursday, in case you forgot.
Yeah, we sent it to the alpha team yesterday, and the alpha team has come back and reported that it's working really well. I used it yesterday and last night, and if it's any consolation, I got 4 new countries on 6 meters and 7 new grids. So I'm chalking it up to the software, but the software's working well. We're in the final testing of it. There's one change that we made in the code that we're waiting to hear back on an alpha tester, and we believe that we're going to get a positive on that. And if that happens, then we're going to release software as early as tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Now, alpha testers, by the way, they're worldwide, so they all have something unique they bring to the game, right? So, and so that's certainly what we're waiting for. Yes. So carrying on. You've talked about SmartSDR.
So what does this mean for everybody? Okay, so Mike alluded originally that there's good news and bad news. The good news is we know what the problem is, we know how to fix it. And it's actually fairly straightforward. It doesn't actually require any changes to the SmartSDR software itself other than recompiling the program for the new version of .NET. So the good news is that for people with Windows 10, you already have the version of .NET that's required, and so you're going to download the software, you're going to install it on your PC, and it's just going to work, and it's going to look like any other kind of release. For people who are using older versions of Windows, XP, Windows 7, Windows 8.0, things of that nature, you may have to do a .NET upgrade installation. And if that happens, Windows is usually really good about prompting you for downloading and updating .NET on your PC. So if you get that that caution or that warning when you're trying to run SmartSDR for Windows, then just follow the instructions that Windows is telling you to do to update. Now, one of the things you may have to do is you may have to download and install security updates before the .NET will install. So, whatever it takes as far as updates are concerned, that's what you need to do. Now, the unfortunate thing is that the SmartSDR ecosystem consists primarily of SmartSDR for Windows, the Maestro, or we call SmartSDR for Maestro, and SmartSDR for M models, which is the SmartSDR that runs on the front panel. We have run into some challenges updating .NET on the tablets, the tablet computers that are in those 3 products. In Maestro A, Maestro B, and in the on the M model radios. Right. And so we're working through those issues, and our team has been working tirelessly. I mean, they have literally not taken a day off since we started working on this, and we've made really good progress on some of the models, getting .NET to upgrade. We have some challenges that we're still working through on some of them. We made a management decision earlier this week that what we wanted to do is we didn't want to wait until we got the Maestros, the A and Maestro B, and the front panel of the M models, all that software taken care of before we released the entire software. And if you've been around with us for a while, you know that whenever we do a SmartSDR release, we released software for Windows for both Maestros and the M model all at the same time. Well, we're gonna break that paradigm this time, and we're doing that so that we can get this fix out to a large number of users as quickly as possible. And so we will be releasing just a Smart SDR for Windows only upgrade here probably tomorrow, and you'll be able to download it, install it on your PC, update the firmware on your radio. If you're operating remotely, you'll need to take whatever actions that you normally do to update firmware on your radio remotely. Hopefully you have a PC at your remote location that you can remote into, download the software, and then upgrade the firmware in the radio.
Hold on. While you take a deep breath, if you weren't listening, we are releasing Smart SDR for Windows, probably for Windows only, probably tomorrow.
Yes.
And SmartLink will work on it.
Yes, SmartLink works just fine.
Okay.
We matter of fact, one of our test cases was our D4C contest station, which operates almost entirely remote, and they've been testing it today, and they gave it a big Italian thumbs up. So we're good with that.
Good.
So what this means is that sometime in the next, hopefully next week, but maybe the next week, because we still have to go through a quality alpha process, we will then be releasing Smart SDR for the Maestros and the M models. And when we do that, we're also going to do another upgrade to Smart SDR for Windows so that everything is back on track like we normally release, where we release, all the components of the Smart SDR ecosystem at one time. So what does that mean? So people are sitting there.
Version 2 and version 3.
Yeah.
We're going to do.
We are going to release version 3 and version 2 of Smart SDR for Windows. Like I said, hopefully tomorrow.
Okay.
It's looking promising. But if you're operating Windows 2, you will be getting version 2.7.5. And if you're on version 3, you'll be getting version 3.2.37.
Great.
So there's people out there that are like, hey, I've got an M model and I've got Maestro, and what does this really all mean to me? So I'm going to try to make it as clear as possible. If you connect to your radio exclusively with a Maestro, you will not be able to upgrade the software until the Maestro version comes out in a couple of weeks, or hopefully next week or the week after. If you have an M model radio, there's a little bit of a caveat here with that. With an M model radio, you can actually download the Smart SDR for Windows, load it on your PC, update the firmware on your radio, and still operate your radio. And if you're operating a radio remotely, you'll be able to operate remotely over SmartLink. What you will not be able to do is operate the radio from the front panel. So if you exclusively run your radio from the front panel, you're just going to have to wait until we release the M model Smart SDR for the M models here in the next week or two, and then upgrade at that point.
Good.
Let's see.
We wanted to go over some of the items in the release notes, which pretty much summarize everything Tim said.
Yeah.
And then what about remote operators? I know you.
Yeah.
You're just waiting to get to that one.
Yeah, we're waiting to get to that one. So for remote operators that are using SmartLink, you're going to have to upgrade the firmware in your radio to the new version that has the updated version of .NET associated with the new version of software. And so if you're a remote operator and you've got like I said, you've got a PC that's remote that you can remote into, you can download the Smart SDR for Windows onto that PC, then you'll be able to upgrade your radio remotely. If you have a remote location where you physically have to drive out there to get to the remote location to do your software update, unfortunately, you're going to have to go physically drive and go out to the remote location to upgrade. The other thing I wanted to say is that SmartLink will only work with the new version of SmartSDR, the 2.7.5 and the 3.2.37, and all versions going forward. There's no way for us to fix SmartLink on older versions of SmartSDR. So if you operate remotely, you're just going to have to bite the bullet and go out to that location if that's what it takes to do the firmware upgrade on the radio. We apologize for that. This is an oversight on our part that we missed the .NET stuff. We honestly would have rather been prepared for this and known it was coming down the pike and been able to take some time to put it together and phase this in. But unfortunately, this is the situation we're in, and this is what we have to do to go forward.
Right. Okay. Well, Tim, thanks. And we're going to go on a bit more too. So some people, there were some comments. This needs to be in the release notes and everything. And sure and behold, we have release notes. So,
yes, we do.
I think you spent all day yesterday on this, did you not?
Most of the day, yes. Well, yesterday, and then things change, and then we spent more time on it today, and that's kind of the way this week has been. It's been an incredibly fluid situation to get to a stable point where we feel comfortable that we can release software. But the good thing is we've got great people on our team. Everybody has pitched in. They've given up weekends, their nights. I've been getting updates from Eric at 10 and 11 o'clock at night, and he's been getting updates from me at the same time. Sure. So,
and vacation.
And vacations, yes.
Yeah. One person came in off vacation.
Yes. So we're doing our very best to make sure that we get this resolved as quickly as possible.
Right. Let's see. So we go through here. I'm just going to look away here. We talk about what a hotfix is. There's some specific questions which I think Tim has gone over. You'll be publishing the release notes with the software, right? Not previously.
I will know a little bit more later today. But if it looks like we're a go for tomorrow, I'm going to go ahead and publish the release notes early.
Okay. I'd like you guys to look at this. Remote operators, there's some specifics on here. There's some restarts, right? You want a power cycle?
Yes.
And a database reset?
No. Well, it all depends on what version you're coming from.
Okay.
If the only time we really needed to do a database reset was for anybody who was on SmartSDR 3.2.31. If you're coming from 3.1.12 or 3.2.34, then a factory reset it should not be necessary. Okay.
And if you have any questions beyond this, we prefer to actually deal with them in the community so everybody can see them. Community.flexradio.com. You're welcome to start a thread called Release Note Questions or whatever. I'll look at them if I need help. I will drag in whoever I have to, and we'll go from there. You can also info us. You can almost, John, I'm going to start over. You can almost email us at, I'm going to start for the third time. You're welcome to email us at info@flexradio.com, and of course at any time. And that goes to multiple people. So it's almost better to use that if you're reaching out, because if somebody's off on vacation or their head's down on something, we make that available as well. And
we'll also entertain questions on the help desk. If you've got a specific question about your remote environment, you've got any kind of concerns, you want to get the skinny, open a help desk ticket. Ken or I will be more than happy to answer your questions.
Okay. And so there's the two key points are here, or the couple. SmartSDR for Windows. You'll be able to go right away. Let me try to generalize this and correct me if I'm wrong. Tim hates it when I do this, but you should be able to connect to any black box out there, like any 6000 series from SmartSDR from Windows. if you update it.
As long as the radio firmware is updated and the client is updated.
Right. And you do that from Windows.
Yes.
Okay. Maestros are still offline, generally, in fact, totally.
Correct. Yes.
And so are the front panels of the M models, sadly.
Yes. Right.
Okay.
And one point, is if you do not use SmartLink, if you only operate your radio on a local LAN, you don't have to worry about any of this until we finally get the final version of SmartSDR, the whole ecosystem bundled together here in a couple of weeks. So, like I said, unless you absolutely need SmartLink, there's no pressing need to do the upgrade.
Right. And there is a lot of other discussion about alternatives and solutions that are in the community. Please follow them there, community.flexradio.com. And I think that's all I have. Again, other simple thing is don't forget to back up your profiles.
Yes. Always.
Don't forget, you can restore them later. And if you see anything really stupid wonky, which we sort of, you get a stuck bit in something, back up your profiles, do a database reset. And it's actually defined in here how to do it.
In the release notes. In the
release notes, and the world doesn't end when you do it, which is good. And so there we are. So Tim, well, thank you very much, and I hope that helps. And by the way, from the bottom of our hearts, we are hugely sympathetic if we took you offline. You'll just have to take it at that. But like I said, there's a lot of people worked a lot of overtime and came in off vacation, and fortunately. One of our engineers made a big change in a good way to our build process. So a couple of months ago now that got spun up, and that really sped up this. We were spinning up versions fairly quickly as we had to, which was hard to do before. So it wasn't impossible; it just made it a whole lot easier. So, Tim, thanks very much, and
You're
I'll
quite
let you.
welcome
He came out of his cave, by the way, to get some vitamin D. I went into the back cave to get some quiet, so that's why it's so dark here. And
yes, I don't want to give the illusion that that we're just hanging out here on the veranda, sipping little drinks with umbrellas on them. Just kind of taking it easy. This is Mike said, "Hey, let's do a quick video," and I was like, "Good, I can get out of the house for like 10 minutes."
Yeah. So. Yeah, we all have those rooms that look really good on Zoom calls, but just out of the camera view is the pile of crap or the dirty laundry or everything else. So anyway, tongue in cheek. 73, everybody, and hopefully we'll hear you on the air. And we are both on the air, actually. So
yep. You can usually catch me on 6 meters during the opening. So
73.
Hasta la vista. Thanks, everyone.